No, it did not fix shit. Whoop. It's not helping.
Hello
and welcome back, my little darlings, to another video here on my channel. I have a dark background this time because I thought it were a little bit sketchy to see through my little bookshelf. It's still a bookshelf back here. I'm not in a black hole. Today I will actually try out some new makeup, and if you have seen my latest makeup video, you recall that I said I didn't have a primer. And yesterday I were at LIDL shopping for groceries, and they actually had some new makeup, and I just were like, oh
my god,
I need to try this out. Before we get into that, I will kindly ask you to do me the biggest favor of them all and press that like, subscribe and the notification icon with all notifications turned on. And while you're at it, you can always follow me on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter as well. Now, let's get into the video, shall we? If you have seen my videos before, you know I use a lot of low-end makeup, and you know, oftentimes it's makeup that is not very well known, and LIDL have their own brand called CN, which produce shampoos and creams and moisturizers and facial washes and all of that sort of stuff, and they also produce a lot of makeup, or not a lot, but you know, a little bit of makeup. And I have tried their CN foundation before, and this is a very good low-end foundation. This will also come in a review later on, yes indeed, because I'm doing an empties video right after this. To my surprise, when I were at LIDL yesterday, I saw that they had actually a new little display with some new some new stuff that isn't in stock for very long, you know, because they are probably trying out to see if it sells well, and they actually had 2 shades of powder, pressed powders. They also had 3 shades of concealer, and they had a facial primer. And also they had new mascara, and they had some eyebrow pencils, but not in the color of my eyebrows. They were dark brown and light brown, very warm, very toasty, and that will not go well in my eyebrows. And it did not cost very much at all. I think the powders were €2 a piece. The concealers were €2.50 a piece, and the primer were €2 a piece. So it were not very much money indeed. It is very affordable. First and foremost, let's talk about the powders. Yes indeed, these are pressed powders. They came in 2 shades, light and medium. They look like this up close. Hello to my very gorgeous face. It's a very sturdy plastic little compact, no mirror, it's hard transparent plastic. This is the primer, yes indeed, it's perfect eye and face primer. It does not tell me what it's gonna do, it just says that it is
eye and face primer, covers eyeshadows, ideal to use as a foundation primer.
Covers eyeshadows, what the fuck? And here are the concealers. Yes indeed, I actually liked these ones. Because they have a little applicator in here. I will just unseal. I hate when they are, you know, like plastic saran wrap around it, because you can never get it off. They look like this, and they have a little sponge applicator down here. It actually feels like a beauty blender. They look very cute, you know. They do not look cheap, but they still look cheap somehow. I just can't explain that, but they do look a little bit fancier than ordinary cheap products, in my opinion. Yes indeed, because they probably know that packaging is everything. If you are gonna sell a product successfully, you need to have nice packaging, even though it's a very, very cheap product. That were that. Now we will actually try to do our makeup with this one. I will use the primer, and I will use my ordinary little brush. I need to buy some new brushes soon, because these ones are so old and brittle and are so washed out. They used to lose every kind of straws and hairs. I will just squeeze out some on this. Oh, it's a clear primer. It actually looks like a moisturizer. It doesn't smell like much, which is nice, because some primers can actually smell terrible and very chemically, but it does smell very nice indeed. So I will squirt some out on my brush here. A little more than a piece size like that should do it. If you have tried this before, you can always tell me what you think about it. But this is the first time for me, so I will see how I feel about these products. Yes, indeed. It's a little bit tingly, this primer. It does have a slight burn to it, which is actually concerning, since if it burns when it is on my forehead, how will it feel on my eyelids? But let's just stroke some of that product right here on the eyelids and see if my eyes fall out. It actually did not burn on the eyelids, but it burns on my forehead like a little bitch. Now let's apply some more. I did squirt out some on this palette right here, so I will actually take that and I will apply that on the places where I don't think I have enough primer, like on my nose, because my skin actually absorbs a hell of a ton. A hell of a lot of product, yes indeed. Now, this should just dry down a little bit so we can apply some foundation on top of this primer. Oh, my fan just gave me a splinter. Fucking fan. Now it have dried down and it does not feel very tacky, but my skin feels very smooth indeed. It does not feel greasy, it does not feel very silicone, it just feels very hydrating actually. My skin feels smooth and a little bit, you know, tacky, but not too tacky, not too... I can see my eyes in the viewfinder, not the actual camera image, but my reflection. And it's actually very disturbing when you don't know it's your own eyes. But the primer does feel smoothing at least, and that's what we are after with a good primer. Yes, indeed. Just to know if the primer is working, I will use a foundation. I know how it performs on my skin, and I will use this foundation right here. It's the High Definition 12-Hour Wear Foundation from W7, and I will not talk about this because I have applied this 1,000 times before. Let's zoom you guys right in so you can see the primer working in this terrible light. This is my skin with foundation on, and it's a foundation. I know how it works, you know. So I know it's very non-creasing from the start, but every foundation creases on me, especially around the forehead. And it does feel like this foundation actually helps to stop the creasing actually, and it has actually helped the foundation to stick to my nose actually. Otherwise it looks like the foundation is already shifting on my nose, even though I have just applied it. So far the foundation is actually really good, just for being such a cheap one. I mean, €2 for a foundation. For a primer is actually a really good price. Especially when it performs like this. I mean, I do have some creasing going on here on the forehead, which is normal for me, but it's much less than it usually is. So the foundation, the primer is actually doing something, I feel like. I mean, my skin does not look so texturized as it usually does when I apply it. So I mean, for being such a cheap primer, it's actually really good so far. I don't know how it wears during the day. I will actually go in with some concealer right now. So today's concealer is those ones from LIDL. Yeah, I showed you this before, and I don't know which is good enough for me. I mean, this is light, this is medium, and they look almost identical in the bottle. I mean, but you know, let's just do a quick swatch here on my arm. I don't know how this applicator works, but oh, it like squeezes out from that little hole in here. When I squeeze the tube, it goes like that. That actually blended in quite nicely indeed. That light one right there doesn't show for shit, so I do think that this one would be the perfect match for me. It is a little light, but still. Let's use the medium one, see if that is a better match for me. Oh my lord. Okay, you can't say shit probably. There is a medium one, and the light one is actually right next to it. So I do feel like the light one is the match for me, because otherwise I will have like 2 orange streaks under my eyes. So it went from like very light to suddenly very dark, so that is something to think about. But yes, that light one is actually very nice indeed. I will just have to wipe this away so I don't make my shirt all dirty. So my darlings, I will apply right now. I use almost through every of the item I should review on the floor. Let's just apply this. Okay, this might be too light for me anyways, but I will try to make this work. Let's just use the beauty sponge. Pat this in place. For being a fluid concealer, it has actually a very thick consistency. Okay, so let's just zoom you guys right in. As you can see in my forehead, or probably cannot see, it is a little bit patchy. It has actually clinged to some of my dry patches up here, and it's actually lifting the foundation underneath. It's actually a very dry concealer. Perfect finish. LIDL, with your own foundation, it probably is the perfect finish, because that is actually a very moisturizing foundation, but not with this foundation. Let's apply some more just to see if I can fix this. Maybe I waited too long to blend it out. No, it did not fix shit. I do believe that actually made it worse. It looks dry as shit in my forehead at the moment.
Oh no!
What the hell is that? What is going on at the moment? LIDL, I am
disappointed in you.
Well, it does take a hell of a lot of blending, and it's thick and quickly drying. You have to be quick as a little bitch to actually get this out. I mean, come on. Oh no! No, this can't be right. What the hell is that? Under my eyes. This looks awful. I am actually very disappointed in LIDL, for real. I usually is very happy with their stuff, but this concealer is under all critics. I mean, I do believe that the foundation formula is not have enough moisture in it, you know, because you have to be quick as a little bitch to blend it out, and that is not how it should work. Because I mean, come on, this looks like total garbage. But this foundation I have on is actually a very quickly drying foundation also, but it do go well with every other concealer I have, like the Revolution Conceal and Define and the LA Girl Pro Conceal High HD Concealer and the Maybelline New York Instant Anti-Age Concealer, and even a very cheap one which is called Cubis London. But you know, I do believe that this concealer is actually formulated to go well with this foundation, because this foundation is very dewy and need to be set to the gods, not to transfer to anything, and it also blends well with even the driest of concealers. So I mean, that is probably why it does not blend well with my current foundation. It actually looks like a goddamn train wreck under my eyes at the moment. Now, let's go over to powder my face with their compact powders, and I will actually go for the medium one, I do believe, because I do believe that the light one is too light for me. But I will try to use it as a brightening powder under my eyes to see if that is a good idea. So I will start with this one. It's the light shade. It's actually very neutral. It actually do give away a lot of product. It's not overly tightly pressed, and it's not too loosely pressed either. Let's go in with that under the eyes to set my concealer. I almost said it feels like the powder is helping, but it's not helping. It's not helping that concealer in any matter, but that's not the powder's fault. But it did actually work as a brightening powder, as I had suspected it would, but I will not use that very light shade all over my face. But let's go in with this medium shade right here, you know. It's not very dark. It's actually a very nice powder indeed. It is not too tightly pressed, it's not too loosely pressed. It actually leaves a very silky finish to the skin. It's not too dry, it's not too, you know, it does not suck up too much excessive oils, you know. It does give a kind of blurring effect on my pores actually, which is actually very nice indeed. I do not get that blurring effect with my other cheap powder, but this one actually blurs the pores a little bit. You can see how this is actually a very loosely pressed powder, but it, you know, it does give a lot of product on the brush, but it do blend well into the parts of my face where I have applied it, you know. This medium shade is actually very dark when it comes onto the skin. You can see the shade difference on my neck from my face, so I should have probably have gone with the light one instead, you know. This is not a pretty look. Okay, so this powder oxidizes very much indeed, but I do believe it's neutral enough to be a good, you know, like a very good almost shading color, you know, since I did apply it a lot right here where I usually put my contour, and it actually looks quite nice shaded right here, and the formula of the powder is actually smooth. It's very smooth. It do feel very silky on the skin. It applies very well. Now, let me just give you my opinions on these makeup items and we will say goodbye afterwards. So, my darlings, let's talk about these products now that I have applied them on my face. I have talked a little bit about them during the application process, but I will give you my opinion on them right now from this first impression. I will have to use them way more to give you a conclusive review, but as for now, the Perfect Skin Eye and Face Primer actually really good. It did make my foundation not crazy at all. You can see even now it's not creasing, even though I am moving my eyebrows up and down like a crazy boy. I do have a little bit of creasing right here. I do have a lot of fine lines, but oftentimes when I use foundation and other primers, I will get like lines here with my own skin peeking through, and it will just look horrible because it cakes up around the crease, and it has not done that with this face primer. So I'm actually very pleased with the primer actually. I am impressed for the €2 price point actually. It does have a very neutral smell. It do have a little bit of sting and tingliness to it, but otherwise I do believe that this is a primer that is worth €2 actually, just because of how it performs on the skin and how little smell it actually has. So I can totally recommend that from this first impression. Next, let's move over to the concealers. I am disappointed. For real, I am really disappointed. I do believe I need to test them out a little bit more, you know, to give my full opinion on them, but as for now, I just can't see how a concealer can be so dry it actually looks like shit under the eyes. I mean, I have used one concealer before that looked like that, and that were also a stick concealer, and it were horrible indeed. The funny thing is that under my eyes it looks like this. It's patchy, it has not clinged very well to my eyes. It has actually lifted foundation and product off my lids when I try to blend it out. It is patchy, while on my arm on the other hand, let's see where it is. Right next to here is the concealer blended out. It's not dry, it's not cakey, it does not look like a train wreck. It's actually really nice here on the arm, but not on the face. So I do believe that if you're gonna use this concealer, you must either use it with their own foundation. I will try that also, because this one is very dewy and does not dry down very quickly. Or you have to use it with some other, you know, very moisturizing foundation. But with a dry foundation like this one right here, which I can use with any other concealer I own, it just not performing very well. However, the coverage is actually there. It did cover up my dark circles to a certain point, so I cannot complain on that. I cannot recommend this if you are a mattifying hole as I am, but if you can stand some dewiness on your skin and you are okay with setting everything with a shit ton of powder, I do believe you can make this one work, but I will have to try it a few times more with different foundations to actually be certain. So I will revisit this one in the future with a different foundation. The powders are gorgeous indeed. Both the packaging and the formula. I mean, this powder is one of the best cheap compact powders I have used in a very long time. They are a little bit misguiding. I mean, this does not look very... Okay, so it does look very dark against my skin there. I lied. Overall, I love these powders for the price point. It's very silky, it's very smooth. It do give a kind of blurring effect on the pores, you know, without, you know, mattifying it too much. It's actually worth the €2 I paid for each one of these. This one smells more like baby powder or talc, you know, a very neutral smell. So that is also a nice little touch of LIDL. Yes, my darlings, thank you so much for watching this video and spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it did look like shit under my eyes. And that you also want to subscribe, like, and press that little notification icon with all notifications turned on so you don't miss anything, and so you can become a part of the DarlingSquad and the Digazmo family as well. And never forget, be who you are since nobody else can. And never trust a perfect finish concealer. Bye!